Yo, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 and today we got a quick look at these bad boys right here. This is my favorite colorway of the Air Jordan 14. I was able to scoop up the original version of this shoe a while back, but they weren't quite in the nicest condition, so I never ended up wearing them. Kind of wanted to restore them, but never ended up doing that either. Found out right afterwards that these guys were retroing. A little bit pissed that I grabbed these, but I am very happy that we have a pair now that is wearable and they look great as well. And probably the coolest part is that now I get to compare the retro to the original, which is kind of nice. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick look at these guys. Again, this is my favorite colorway of the Air Jordan 14. I just think that this colorway is super slick. But the funny thing is that when these originally dropped back in '99, I didn't fall in love with them right away because they weren't Bulls colors. On top of that, I absolutely don't like green whatsoever. So it took me a while to warm up to these guys. However, the more that I saw them, the more they just kind of grew on me. And then it became not just that, oh, they're not a Chicago colorway. It more so became, oh, that's kind of a unique colorway. Because this was back in the time when it was rare to get a shoe like this, especially from Jordan Brand, because of the fact that he was still a Bull at this time. Although he had just retired right after that last shot, but that's besides the point. So again, these became something that I didn't like to something that I absolutely love. And then this color scheme ended up getting really popular with the Nike LeBron Dunkman series with the LeBron 7, but Jordan Brand did it first. Kind of cool. Now, something to consider while comparing these two is just how good they actually made this retro. Like, they are super similar. It's really impressive. The Air Jordan 12 was a good retro this year, and this is just as good as that. Actually, these might even be a little bit better. Something they weren't able to replicate though is the original smell of the 14. If you were around back then and you smelled a pair of these, they have the most distinct smell ever. They don't smell bad, they don't smell great, they just have this one kind of odor to them that just smells like the Air Jordan 14. It's kind of strange. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not sure if there are other shoes that have distinct smells or odors attached to them, but this is one of them. And even after all these years, they smell just like that. So it must be the glue or something like that that they used on these guys, because they have that smell that I remember as a kid. Because a friend of mine had a pair of 14s and I remember smelling them and they smelled just like this. It's just so weird. Now, as far as the actual build, they're very close to one another. The only real noticeable difference is that the toe, this is the original here, is a lot longer than these guys here. These guys got kind of like a shortened stubby tongue. Not tongue, toe. I don't know if you can see that, but this is the OG and then this is the retro right there. But they got that tumbled leather just like looking perfect. It's crazy. And then another thing that's different is the coloring of the logo on the shield emblem. The original is just like a weird brighter green, and then this green matches the rest of the accent colors. Because on the OG here, this guy was just a different shade of green than everything else that's on the shoe. Outsoles are pretty much identical. Obviously one is worn, one is not. But the shank that they have right here, this is a matte black and then this is a glossy black on the original. The originals also have a glittery kind of like glossy paint on the midsole, and then these guys don't have that either. Tongues are very close. This was the one thing that I was really surprised with, and I'm talking about the tongue height. The OG might be just a slight bit taller than the retro, and I'm not mad at that at all because some of the retros have a really awkwardly high tongue that the originals never had. Now, something that the retro does better than the original, surprisingly, is the quality of synthetic suede that they used. So the material quality on the toe and the collar panels right there is just a nicer suede than what they use on the OGs. The OGs are like a real rough, kind of like almost long-haired synthetic, and then these guys here use like a really nice and smooth, like short-haired synthetic. So I really dig that. I love the way that they did the material application on the retro. And then the other thing that the retro did better than the original is just their stitching. The stitching on these guys is just a lot cleaner, it's a lot more precise, and that's not because of them being sloppy back in '99, it's just that technology is a lot better now. So computerized stitching methods and things like that are just a lot nicer on these guys. I don't know how we're gonna see it, but the tongues, like the actual Jordan text, it's just a lot nicer on the retro than it is on the original, even though they look almost identical. And then of course the Jumpmans and things like that look better on the retro stuff than they do on the OGs. But again, other than that, they're almost identical. Something that I found interesting is that they put a ton more padding in the retro, and I'm talking about the collar area here. So these guys, this is the original, they had a really nicely like memory foam style padding on the sides, and then they left the back here a little bit looser so that they would cup and fit the Achilles area a lot nicer. Whereas on the retro, they stuffed the shit out of it. I mean, this is just like overdone, like Nicki Minaj's ass. Which is why when you wear these things, sometimes they fit really snug and tight at first until you break in that back collar area. As far as fit, I would go true to size. That's what I personally wear. If you're wide-footed though, half a size up is probably going to be a must, and some wide footers, they just might not even like enjoy the way that these fit all together. So if possible, try them on in store just to make sure. As far as their tech specs are concerned, they have a Phylon midsole and then heel and forefoot zoom air. The originals had a really awesome zoom air unit in the forefoot. It was a 4-chambered articulated unit, and then the new ones, the retros, they don't. It's just a regular kind of like oval shaped thin zoom bag. It's like what they use on all of their other stuff, like the newest Hyperdunk and things like that. So downgrade in cushion, but they've done that ever since the original retros. And I think this shoe originally retroed, not this colorway, but the model itself back in 2004, 2005, maybe 2006, but I'm pretty sure it was like 2004, 2005. And that's pretty much it. These guys are going to be 190 bucks, which, I mean, take it or leave it, it's up to you. And I know that a lot of people don't like the Air Jordan 14, but I am personally a fan of them, not only on court, but also off court. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick look. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Let me know if you plan on picking a pair up yourself. And until next time, guys, have a good one. Problem, while dust will get in there and you will have to wipe periodically, the grip on these things are insane. And on top of that, you can see that it's just multi-directional. This goes everywhere. But overall, the traction here was fantastic. As far as cushion, we've got full-length boost. And as you know, boost is life. What we have is a TPU wrap on the entire lateral end. Meanwhile, the medial side is completely exposed. Don't worry, midsoles are different as well. The traction's way different. They added traction. They added some teeth in there because I was getting some slippage in here. So everything that I complained about in the sample, they actually fixed on the retail version. Two of the main things that I had complained about was that the heel counter right here, or not the heel counter, but the heel padding just wasn't substantial enough. It needed to be a little bit more heavy on the padding, a little bit more sculpted.